Welcome to the Fitness and Nutrition Simplified podcast, where we take all the confusing, conflicting information and break it down so that you can live your healthiest, strongest, most energized life. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons. Let's get it started. All right, we are live. Welcome back to the Monday version of Fitness and Nutrition Simplified with me, Coach Fitz. Today, we're going to be talking about three different topics. We're going to go over why half-assed rest equals half-assed results, and different rest periods and all that, and what you can do to optimize your results, why there is no such thing as the perfect time, and what consistency really is. And it's probably not what a lot of you think. All right. But before we do that, let's start off with last Sunday, so this is Monday, so a week from Sunday before the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was it was like an omen for the rest of the week. I put all my money on the Bengals and I lost all my money. I think I took first touchdown score for the Bengals as Joe Mixon. Didn't happen. I took touchdown from Joe Burrow to touchdown from Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase and a Bengals win. That clearly didn't hit. And then it was Joe Burrow for 300 passing yards, Jamar Chase for 100, and Joe Mixon for 70 yards rushing. Jamar was 100 receiving, and that didn't hit. So really on the money with that one. Oh, wow. Didn't even mean to make a pun there, but starting off hot. And then that led to a stellar start to the week, which was loaded with food poisoning. So wasn't sure where that came from. I'm not blaming it on the food. Maybe I caught something. I don't know. But along with that, there was the Peacemaker finale, which also, I enjoyed the finale. I enjoyed the series. It was very entertaining. If you're looking for like the next Breaking Bad or the next, next Game of Thrones level thing, it's not for you because your standards are too high. But for anybody that's just genuinely trying to have something that's a little lighthearted, a lot of guy humor, it's perfect. So I was very bummed that it's over. And I don't remember if I brought up Boba Fett finale or the Book of Boba Fett finale last time, but now that's over too. So just got nothing. I live for nothing but this podcast at this point. But actually, bringing it back to the Super Bowl, I am getting very, very hyped for one of the commercials that came up, which was Rings of Power. For anybody that's not a Lord of the Rings nerd, such as myself, Rings of Power is the new series that Amazon's putting out. Oh, I did. I've brought this up previously because it's the one that I mentioned maybe 2 or 3 back that is the most expensive television series or streaming series ever. It beat Game of Thrones. So the production value is going to be through the roof. And they even brought on Game of Thrones guys to help out with the writing, with the producing. So I'm very, very excited. And the teaser, the little commercial bit for a minute. Oh my God, I got so hyped. My friends, not so much. It took 0.2 seconds after the commercial when I'm like, ooh, Rings of Power, for one of my friends to be like, nerd. So thanks, Bob. Anyway, that is the intro for today. Now, yeah, we're still good. After last week's little mishap with the recording and the memory issue, I'm always a little bit like, oh boy, are we recording? But hey, that's the beauty of this. We're not quite at 100 episodes yet, so we're constantly fine-tuning things. Today's project was figuring out the lighting, which it doesn't seem like it's a huge difference, but anybody that's been catching these snippets that I'm putting out on social media, this last week's one, it looked like I hit the enhance button about 50 times. And it's because us pasty folk get very drowned out in the lights. When there's too much brightness, I look like a painting and somebody just dropped water on it. It happens. And that's why anybody who's not familiar with like the bodybuilding space, like everybody's first question when they go to like a bodybuilding show and they see people that are not on the stage yet, they're like, Jesus, why are they so dark? Why do they, like, me personally, I had to do 6 coats of spray tan and I was very, very dark. And the people don't get that when you're under the lights, you have to be dark. Like and it's clear as day here. Like you can see the slightest bit of brightness and I get drowned out. You can't see anything and it gets like literally blurry on screens. And then if you're on stage, the judges can't see you. So when it comes to anything filmed, video, or just visual, that's why so many people like that go on TV or do these bodybuilding shows have tans, whether it be just a little bit or a whole lot. All right. Now that we've got that out of the way, time for topic number 1, which is half-assed rest equals half-assed results. This is geared towards the people that are like obsessed with the circuit training and the high intensity classes and all that. And before I start, if that's what gets you in the gym, like if that's what keeps you consistent because you enjoy the flow of it and you really wouldn't be able to get yourself to the gym without getting that release, like that sweat on, that like endorphin rush, like you just went for a run, then maybe this isn't for you. But if you're like, by all means, stick to it. Whatever creates consistency and adherence, do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but for the people that want to get the best results, that want to build muscle, build strength, and create a more resilient body, the most resilient that they can, this is for you. Okay, let's get back to that boot camp-ish realm, okay? Because I used to teach boot camp style classes, and I also taught the other end where it's like, take your rest, do what you can. And a lot of times what happens is people get attached to a weight when they go to their boot camp class or they do their circuit workouts, like the Peloton workouts at home, and they get attached to this one weight. And they're like, oh, I use my 10-pounder. Oh, and I moved it up this week. I'm at 15 pounds. And it's like, that's great. Like that's a form of progression. That's good. But eventually you hit a ceiling when you're like, I don't want to go past that. And you're like, okay, that's fine, especially if you're doing repetitive movement in really high rep ranges. Like you definitely don't want to push the weight too far because then form's going to get sacrificed and all that. And that's because your lungs and your regeneration of your muscles, your oxygen levels, all that stuff, it takes a hit. And you're really just fighting for air the entire time. You're not trying to get any stronger. You're really just trying to survive. And then what happens when those people went to the other side, we always said they came to the dark side, when they went to the strength side and challenged their body to see how strong they can be and took the appropriate amount of rest, their strength level went through the roof. Like I would see a lot of, like, especially the women, because like, and I'm not trying to be sexist here, I'm just going based on what I experienced. The women would grab, like, for squats, let's say, in the high intensity class, they'd grab, we had kettlebells that were in kilograms, so they would grab the 10 kilo, which ended up being about, like, what was it, 26? No, that was the 12 kilo. But yeah, like 26 pounds, we'll say. And they would stick to it all the time. We would run out of 26s because for some reason that was everybody's favorite weight. And then they'd come over to the strength side and all of a sudden they could squat 62, 72 pounds. And they're like, what the hell? And it's like, that is the difference between taking rest and letting your body recover so you can push it, rather than just getting through the workout and just surviving and getting a good sweat in. And not only that, when people did that, their bodies responded better. Like their metabolism shot up because they'd come in the next day and be like, I'm really hungry. And it's like, that is a sign that you're doing the right thing, because now your body wants to, it's now not in that fight or flight mode. It's like, okay, you hit it hard, now feed me. It's not, all right, we survived, I'm gassed. Like, just don't do anything. Like, I'm not even hungry. I don't want to do anything. And when your body gets to that place of functioning optimally, you're lifting more weight, you're taking the proper rest, your hormones usually are in a better place. So like if you're on the extreme end and you're pushing yourself to the point where you're creating that negative stress that we've talked about in the past. And you can literally put yourself in a place where, like, hormonally, your body is not in a good spot. And let's say you bounce back from that, and now you tried the strength workouts. Now your body is created this environment. So now you're building more muscle, building more strength. You're getting better sleep. And this is all just from a rest period. And it's insane. And I mean, the difference is absolutely unbelievable when you get out of that mindset of, I'm just trying to get through my workout, instead of, I'm trying to lift the most weight I possibly can. Because and even if you're on the strength side and you're like, all right, I'll give it a minute, just doing that, it's insane at the difference of resting 2 minutes compared to 1 minute, or 3 minutes compared to 2 minutes. Because if you do like a 1 minute rest on your first 2 sets, and then on your third set, you really give it a whole lot of time. You give it like 3 minutes because you're winded and you're like, all right, I just got to catch my breath. And you give your body that full 3-4 minutes. Maybe you chat up with a friend, catch up on text messages. You lift the weight and you're like, holy crap, this feels light. That's why, because your body is actually recovered. Your body is ready to go, and it's ready to give it its absolute best, compared to when you got half-ass rest and your body is only operating with like 50% of the gas in the tank, and you expect the results to be the same. That's just not how it works. So when you give your body full rest, you get the full benefits. You get the strength, you get the muscle increases, you get that toned look. You could potentially put your body in a better situation, like hormonally and in every way possible, to get a more toned look by dropping body fat, gaining muscle, which is what a lot of people, at least the ones that come to me, seem to really want to do. So if that's your goal, that's the way to go. But what about endurance? What about the people that want to work on their cardio, their conditioning? There are rest periods for that too. Now, when it comes to the long duration stuff, like the low intensity steady state cardio, LISS as we call it, that's pretty simple. You just go and you kind of keep a steady pace, and then you could progress. Like if you have a metronome going, like that little boop, 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 and you time your steps to it, over time you can increase the frequency of that. So you could start really slow and then crank it up over time. There's really no rest period needed for that, other than, did you go further? And that it's a very simple way of, or did you do it faster? And it's a very simple way of tracking progression. But the rest periods come into high intensity interval training, which we've covered in length, but we're going to go even further. With high intensity interval training, in the boot camp classes, in whatever kind of body pump class, a lot of times they operate on like a 30-30 or like a 60, like minute on, minute off kind of style. And for advanced trainees, that's great. Like that's a very good place to be in. But for one, those classes usually go way too long, because when they put it in the lab, when they study these people to find out where all these benefits come from, they're only doing high intensity interval stuff for like 10, 20 minutes tops. And these are sometimes like the elite of the elite. One of the big protocols that people hear a lot is Tabata, which is like you basically take the prescribed, what a lot of people do, which is like the 2-to-1 ratio. So for some people that would be like 60-30. So you work, or sorry, it would be 1-to-2, so 30-60. So you work for 30 seconds and then you rest for 60 seconds. But they took it a step further and shortened that up, where it was, I believe, 20-10. So, but instead of doing 10 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, because you always want a little more rest than work, they flipped it and they did 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. And they did that for 6 bouts, I believe. I got to find the Tabata study, but they did that for like 6 bouts and they saw insane results. Like, and these were elite athletes doing them. So this is a very super advanced protocol. Only kicker here is that they only saw results for like a month and then it plateaued hard. So you go to these classes and you're like an average person that's not Olympic level doing Tabata protocol, expecting to get results. It's not going to happen. For one, you can't put the energy out that's required. Like, these people were pushing 11 out of 10 the entire time. I know personally when I coached and we had Tabata protocol going, people were not giving an 11 out of 10. They were giving like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. And they're like, oh, I'm really pushing it. And we're like, oh yeah, try and do this. And they could always push a little bit more and a little bit more. And if there's always a little bit left in the tank for a protocol like that, it just doesn't work. Not only that, it creates a huge stress response on the body. It's very, very taxing. So when it comes to rest, you always want more than less. Now, a good ratio to start on would be something like I got to flip it in my head. Would be like a 1-3 or a 1-2. So that would be like 30 seconds of work, 90 seconds of rest. That would be like a 1-3. Or 1-2 would be 30 seconds of work, 60 seconds of rest, and doing that for like 3 to 5 rounds to start. You really don't need, when it comes to high intensity stuff, you don't really need to go past that 10-minute mark, because eventually you're not going to be able to put the output out that's required. Like, the high intensity is not medium intensity. It is high intensity. You're supposed to be pushing as hard as you can. And if you can't do that and maintain that level of intensity, that's the real thing. If you can't maintain that effort level, then you're not doing it. You're not doing high intensity. So what I mean by maintaining that effort level, so let's say you're on a bike and you have the ability to see how many like watts you're putting out, which is like the energy created from all the friction that you're creating on that bike. If there's a meter there, you can tell the force that you're putting into everything. If you maintain it within like a range, so this is arbitrary, don't go on your bike and try and hit these numbers, but say you're hitting like 50 to 60 watts. If you stay in that range for like 5-6 rounds, perfect, you nailed it. If that's your absolute best, because you want to stay within like a couple like percentage points of your initial effort, which should be very, very high intensity, like absolute. So if you want to get technical, you could say like 80% is as low as you want to go compared to that initial effort. Now, there's probably people out there that are super into the aerobic stuff that are going to give you precise numbers that could do it way better than me. And by all means, seek them out. I'm just giving like beginner base level stuff here. So another way you could track if you're putting out enough is like ones that count calories. So if you're, again, we'll use a bike for an example. If you're tracking how many calories are being burnt, they're not actually accurate, but it's a good measure of like if you're putting the same level of effort in. So let's say you burn 10 calories in 30 seconds. Very hard to do. I've never seen it done. But actually, I take that back. I've seen that done. 10 calories in 30 seconds. And then you do your 60 or 90 seconds rest. Your round 2 is up. Boom, you hit it again. And now you hit like 9 calories. Great. Rest your time. 8 calories on the third. And you're like, okay, I'm getting tired. I can't really push anymore. And then on that fourth one, you hit 7. I would just call it right there and just be like, okay, I'm not quite there yet. I can't produce that much effort. Like, that means that I am not there yet. That's fine. You can gauge progress that way too. So if you can only get 3 rounds staying within that 80%, great. Come back the next time, like after a day or two or next week, and see if you can get 4 rounds hitting that, and then you can climb the ladder that way. But just going in and just killing yourself over and over again in a boot camp class, that's not how you build endurance. It's just not. And when you include the endurance training for the strength stuff that we talked about prior, your recovery level gets really, really good. So let's say on the extreme end, you're a power lifter that needs like 10 minutes between sets. Like, there are some guys that are so heavy and they lift so much, like elite level power lifters, that they need like 10 minutes just to get ready for the next set. If you're at that level of deconditioning when it comes to aerobic style stuff, like where you physically just resting in between sets, it takes that long. Doing endurance work like that can make a world of difference. You're going to get much better recovery, better quality recovery, and it's going to happen faster. So this is why having a combination approach is always going to be best. Unless you're peaking or something and you want to really push it to the limit for like a couple of months maybe, then that's fine. But like all the time, it just makes no sense. You can't just keep milking the cow. Eventually it's going to run dry and you need to do something about it. So yeah, sorry for the weird analogy at the end, but that pretty much covers it when it comes to rest timing. Chase the adaptation, not the sweat, not the feeling. Chase the progress. That's all it comes down to. If you're not progressing, something's got to change. And if you don't know how to progress, ask your coach. And if they don't have a good answer, find a new coach. Next is going to be, there is no perfect time. This one came up because I'm currently in a mentorship certification kind of program. Still not quite sure how to label it, but I was on a call with one of the guys and they were saying they were talking to somebody and they were telling him like, it's just, right now is not a good time to get started. I got so much going on. And he said, he's like, okay, totally cool. Now, has it ever been a good time? Like, have you ever had a block of time where it's like perfect, the stars align and it's like, you're ready to go like right then and there? And she's like, well, no. And he's like, do you see that coming up in the future? And she's like, well, no. And it's like, and then he's like, so you told me you want to change, but you don't see a window of time coming up and it's like the stars are not aligning. It's not right. When do you think would be a good time? And she's like, shit, I don't know. And he's like, would you be willing to work and figure it out and like take this imperfect situation and create some habits and put in some work that may not be quote unquote perfect, but it'll get you closer to your goals and you'll be able to continually get better? And she's like, yeah, I think you're right. And I'm like, light bulb moment. Phew. Because I don't know how many times I've talked to people on the phone or in the messages and they're like, yeah, I'm getting ready to jump on this workout program. I got to wait. Like once I really get this, and this taken care of, I'll be good to go. And then it's this continual, they get to that place and then something comes up. And then they're like, all right, once this is done, I'll get started. And then boom, something else comes up. And it's this never-ending cycle of there's always something. And I'm just going to be straight up and say, like, anybody who says they're waiting for this thing to line up is using that as an excuse. Because if you really, really want to get going, you will. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's literally just getting another walk in throughout the day, or maybe standing at your desk a little bit more, those are forms of improvement. Chasing improvement does not need to be, I'm going to hit the gym every single day. I'm only eating chicken and broccoli every single meal of the day. No, those are what the hardos on social media want you to believe because they're so insecure in the way that they look that that's their identity. Like if you want to completely flip how you feel about food and you want to feel like you can never get an ounce of fat on your body, then yeah, adapt that mindset. But if you're a normal person that wants to just feel better in their clothes and wants to feel more confident around their families, at work, at like their high school reunion, like you don't need to take it to that level. Nobody needs to take it to that level. And what really comes down to like the right time is the time that you're ready to say enough is enough. It doesn't mean that your day has to all of a sudden open up and you need like 4 hours of extra time. It doesn't mean that you're waiting for a promotion and you think that all of a sudden this new surge of money is just going to allow you to do everything that you need to do. It's not. It's just never going to happen. If you don't get it done now, if you don't start moving the needle now, it's never going to move. It's never going to happen. So it's a very good question to ask yourself. Like if you're putting it off and you're just like, once this one thing happens, like once I get to this place, I'll start. Like cut that, nip it in the butt. That's the line of thinking that's going to have you looking back 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now in a place where you're not happy with where you're at and you're wishing that you did it right now. So doing yourself a favor and saying like, I'm done lying to myself. I'm done like feeding myself this bullshit story. Some of us need that. A lot of us need that. I've had to give myself that talk in the past. I mean, this is coming from straight experience. Like, yeah, it came from a good story that like brought all this to the forefront in my mind. But there have been times where like I let it slide. Like there was a good chunk of time. I've gone months, like almost half a year, where I just didn't make it to the gym. I didn't eat what I should have been eating. And I know for some that's like, oh, it's only 6 months. It's nothing. But everybody's range is different. Like everybody's like when they say when is different. So for me, it felt like an eternity. And when you get to that place, you get very comfortable telling yourself the same story over and over again. When this happens, when I get here, oh, as soon as this class is done with, or as soon as my kids are back in school or whatever, there's a million things that can come up. And there's always going to be things around the corner that are going to come up. People are going to get sick. Financial situations are going to change. The economic climate's going to change. Political climate's going to change. And it's really the core thing here is when you learn to dance in the rain, your opportunity for growth, for perfection is limitless. So learn to dance in the rain and you'll be able to do whatever you want no matter what situation gets thrown your way. And that brings me to the final point, which is consistency is not exactly what you think it is. A lot of people think consistency is this perfect, like that word again, I hate perfect. People think consistency is perfection, like 7 out of 7 days every single week, hitting my calories, doing what I got to do in the gym, doing the meal prep on Sunday, doing my morning meditation, all this other crap, journaling. And it's like, no, that was somebody's like perfect day and they're just trying to spew it at you saying how great they are. The people that actually get the job done, the people that have been doing this for a very long time, the ones that have the habits and stuff will tell you firsthand. A lot of things came at them and they've had bad days. They've had a good amount of good days, but they've also had just as many bad days where they fell off track, where they had a night out that they felt like derailed them, or they had a weigh-in that was like way heavier than they thought. And instead of using that and being like, oh, screw this, I quit. Like they're like, okay, tomorrow or today I'll do what I can to make tomorrow better. And always going at that mindset of consistency is not nailing every day like at your absolute best. Consistency is dusting yourself off when you need to and continually coming back, continually pushing to fix things that you can fix and to give yourself a little bit of forgiveness on the things that you can't. The real words that I like to use when it comes to consistency are persistence and perseverance, because that's all it is figuring out what doesn't work, trial and error, and giving yourself the freedom, the little bit of slack to make mistakes, to mess up, quote unquote, because there really is no messing up when it comes to a fitness journey. It's literally just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. And then you find your zone, you find what works for you, and you ride it. You just keep going. And then if things need to change down the line, like nothing's going to ever work forever, but that's when you find out what the next step is. That's when you find out how the plan can be tweaked just a little bit. Hopefully you have a coach or somebody in your corner that can help with a little bit of guidance that's been down that road before, and they can help you figure out what that next step is. And at the end of the day, if you're worried about the timing of everything, that's what's really going to throw a lot of people off, is like, oh, they're in a big rush. Like, oh, I gotta be consistent so I could get this done in this amount of time. And it's like, okay, but why? Why that amount of time? Are you just going to stop? Or are you going to quit right when that time hits? Because I've seen that happen a lot, where people will do like a 30, 60-day challenge and they feel amazing. They look incredible. And then they're like, okay, I'm done. And then they go back to quote unquote normal eating and they gain it all right back. For what? what was the point of that? To feel good for 10 minutes and then gain it all back? No. If you're not trying to do this for the long term, then it's never going to be long term. And if you come at it with a mindset of, at this time, like, I want to get it done by this time, like, it's good to have deadlines, don't get me wrong, because then you put it off. But once that deadline is set and you get yourself in a groove, allow yourself a little bit of freedom to be like, okay, I wasn't perfect today, but I'm going to get back at it tomorrow. And even though my journey isn't going to be as fast as I want it to be, it's still going to happen, because the only failed journeys are the ones that stop, or the ones where you quit. And that is the big thing here. As long as you don't quit, that's consistency. You're consistently showing up. You're consistently putting in effort. You're consistently going right back at it and saying, okay, I learned from whatever came my way, and I'm getting better every single day. Because even the failures are the best learning experiences. I can tell you right now, I did that where, like, I went on an extreme diet and for my first bodybuilding show, and then 2 months later I was 40 pounds heavier. Did I say, oh, I'm not cut out for this? I'm like, no. Well, I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, well, I found out what doesn't work, and that taught me something in the long run. And the second time around, I did it again. I got myself to a good place, did even better on the weight loss part, and then the rebound, even though I did get to a point where I was heavier than I'd like, I didn't get to that point. Like, I got better. And then over time, tweaking the plan, making it better. And this is, for me, like, I know my fitness journey started when I was 13. So this is year 16 of tweaking the plan. Long-term thinking, long-term results, long-term everything is a long-term mindset. So if you're in it, if you're willing to get yourself to that place of, like, I'm willing to do what I got to do as long as it takes, because I'm going to get there and I'm going to be nice to myself along the way. Okay. That's the real thing. You got to be nice to yourself and understand that these things happen. So I know this is more of like a woo-woo, like cheerleader episode and mindset episode, but it has to happen sometimes, because sometimes we all need a kick in the ass. And if this is your kick in the ass, use it. Get started. Do something today. Like, go out for an extra walk. Sign up for a gym. Do something to improve where you're at if that's what you want. And yeah, let the results happen. Give yourself some forgiveness, learn along the way, and enjoy the ride. And on that note, I'll see you guys all on Wednesday. Hope you have an amazing week. Until then, go kick some ass. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening in. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a 5-star review and make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you can catch all the upcoming episodes of the Fitness and Nutrition Simplified podcast.